In this video, I will show kernel module debugging functionality in the Sourcery CodeBench IDE. Of course, real Linux kernel developers do not need a debugger. But for ordinary people, stepping through the code might be the best approach. Without an IDE, you need to follow a few steps. Copy your module to a target, set a breakpoint in module loader, actually load the module, find what address was chosen for it by the kernel, load debug symbols, and only then you can set breakpoints in your own code. And while you can automate some of this, it's still a very inconvenient process. Let's take a look what we can do with an IDE support. I will first create a kernel module project, and for that I only need to select an appropriate template. On the next page, I specify the kernel source tree and the kernel image. The IDE tells me these paths seem to be okay, so I move to the next page, where I specify debug device. The one I have is already preselected, so I only need to set the board. The module that was created is a very simple character device driver. Let's make sure that it builds. Seems to work just fine, so let's look at debug options. A debug configuration was automatically created for my project, and the SSH connection I have for my target was also preselected, so I can click debug. And I obviously need to specify a password so that I can insert the kernel module. It takes a while, but eventually the debugger stops at the init function of my module. And if we examine the debug traces, we'll see that the IDE did exactly what the manual process involves. In this console, we see that the debugger found the address where the module was loaded. And let's switch to the GDB traces. Here we can see that we have added symbol file for the kernel module at the address where it was actually loaded. And if we scroll a little bit further, we see a temporary breakpoint that was set precisely at the init function. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, leave comments to this video or follow up on Google+ and Twitter.